Welcome to LEGO Mastery. Please consider liking the video and subscribing, but without any further ado, let's get into it. First, Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator. I mean, it's okay, but it looks rough. I mean, I know it's dated, but still, I think it's the worst set of the year. Second worst for me is Anakin's Pod Racer. There's two pod racing sets from this year, and one of them clearly bests the other. And it does have some good minifigures, but I don't think it's enough to save it. It's a pretty good set from the year, but the Vulture Droid. I think it's pretty low, but it was really good for only $5 back in the day, and you could build up a pretty good army of these. Fourth worst, the Gungan Sub. I mean, it has some pretty good printing, but it just looks rough. And I think the minifigure selection is a little bit bland. First original trilogy set, Luke's Landspeeder. I think this looks pretty good. I mean, the figures are nice, the size is pretty decent, and I think for first attempt, LEGO got this pretty well done. Midway, and I actually put this set here. I know a lot of people give it flack, especially for the Jar Jar, but I think for what it is, you got some nice pieces and some good figures with two battle droids, Qui-Gon Jinn and Jar Jar. Just how high I put this one up on the list, but the Naboo Starfighter, I mean, I know it looks really rough, but I think they got the general shaping pretty good considering it's really curved, and I think the minifigures were okay, but I could have done with like one of the official Naboo Starfighter pilots. And a original trilogy set on this list, the Snowspeeder. I think this looks pretty good, has some nice figures. I do think the gray was a really weird choice because you can clearly see in the movies that it's white, but I do think for what it is, it's a pretty good set. Lightsaber Duel. I think this thing looks pretty cool. You got some great figures, those new chrome silver hilts. An interesting thing is on the box art, they actually got the lightsabers. Like, there's a part of it that's wrong, but otherwise, I think the set is just really good for what it is and the price. Next, the X-Wing Starfighter. I find that most of the original trilogy sets on this list are higher up, and I think that's really just because The Phantom Menace isn't the most beloved Star Wars movie. But all of that aside, I think the X-Wing looks pretty dang good. I mean, it could have been white, but otherwise, I think it's a really good set for its time, and some nice minifigures too. Except the speeder bikes, I mean, I'm just a sucker for Scout Troopers. This set looks so good. I mean, it has some nice builds, great figures, and it's from my favorite movie of Star Wars, so I'm pretty biased. Runner-up, best set of the year is the TIE Fighter with Y-Wing. I mean, it has some great figures, the builds are pretty great, and I like the way they bundled it, especially the Darth Vader minifigure with its new helmet mold. In our number one spot, we have the Pod Racers. This looks like an amazing set. You get 3 great pod racing builds, 10 minifigures if you count the droids, which is insane. Tons of colorful pieces. It has some great new molds like Sebulba and Jar Jar's head, some good prints, and in general, it's just a great bundle with all of the different parts that you'll need to make the Mos Eisley pod racing scene. Subscribe!